Good evening again. We are back with the same chapter, chapter number 4, which we are going to continue with the design trade of things. And in this chapter, we are going to learn about the thermal consideration. Okay, so let us see what all the things we are going to see in this thermal consideration. Basically, what do you mean by thermal consideration? Thermal consideration is one of the most significant factor from the product safety discipline. It is related to the cooling methods, it is related to the ambient temperature, it is related to the airflow, it is related to the touch temperature of accessible parts, and it is also reliable to the module power dissipation and so on. So this thermal consideration is the part whenever you are going to design one particular component. Suppose if you are going to design the LEDs, so whenever we are going to design the LED, what all the things you need to consider and what are the things you need to look upon, that is nothing we are going to look after this thermal consideration. So this is one of the most important factor for designing the application part. Okay, so for example, now if we are going to consider the thermal consideration in LED lighting. Okay, so likewise there are number of things wherever we can consider the thermal consideration, but we are going to take one example of LED lighting. Why? Because we have already seen the LED interfacing with microcontroller. So with respect to that point, I have taken one example of LED lighting. So see, why there is thermal management, why this thermal management is needed in the LED lighting system. Let us know in detail about this. So we know LEDs are most efficient than incandescent sources, right? And they have the different thermal challenges. So we know for each and every application, that could be the smaller or bigger application, we are using LEDs most of the time. So while designing this LEDs, there are some most efficient way for the decent resources, and that also have some thermal challenges as well. So like incandescent tungsten inflammate. Now whenever you are going to take a bulb, LED is nothing but one kind of bulb is, when you are going to consider some big bulbs, you know the tungsten filament of the light bulbs is high power. Okay, those are the high power. So those high power is nothing but that is also made up of the high power LEDs that do not radiate heat outside. Okay, if you consider a normal bulb, a transparent bulb, if you consider, that transparent bulb is also consisting of the tungsten filament in it, as well as these LEDs are also consisting tungsten filament in it. But the difference between these two is that these LED bulbs are not going to produce the heat outside. It is not going to radiate the heat outside. But if you consider that transparent bulbs gives the heat outside, and if you are going to keep on that bulb for longer time, that bulb is going to get hotter. Okay, so instead of that, LED conducts heat from their PN junction. So why these LED bulbs are not going to heat out? Because this LEDs is going to generate the heat in the PN junction diode of the thermal slung into the PN LED package. Okay, so much of the so much of the heat is not produced or not given out by this LEDs. So in an LED, the heat path includes thermal thermal impedance. It is going to among the different components like the slung, board, heat sink, etc. We are going to see what is the thermal slung and board and heat sink in next part. So the primary cause of the LED failure, is improper for the thermal management. The primary cause, basically what we say, that the LED is not working. Why this LED is not working? Because the LED is not properly placed, or there is a failure in improper thermal management. Thermal management means whenever it is producing the heat, when LED is producing the heat, that time there is some failure. That's why LED is going to fail in the result. So because this is exceeding the maximum junction temperature specification, typically it is 150 degrees Celsius. So this impacts the performance of the LED parameters. Like it is, if it is going to failure, it is going to get fail like color, the brightness, and are sensitive to the temperatures. So therefore the designers need to basically understand the thermal design and the performance of the LED. So here you can see, this is the LED bulb that is going to radiate the heat wherever this is going to produce the heat, and this is the heat sink part where you are going to conduct the heat. So this is the heat sink where the heat is absorbed, and this is the bulb where it is going to radiate the heat. This is the picture, shows you the details about the heat conduction. So for that we need to understand some fundamental modes of heat transfer and the cooling techniques. We need to know all these things. So basically there are three modes of heat transfer. First one the conduction, second one the convection, and the third part is the radiation. So the process of heat transfer in solids is known as conduction. When you are going to say that the heat is conducting, the process of heat transfer in the solids, it is nothing but called as conduction. Whenever we are going to consider in the liquid forms or in the form of gases, it is known as convection and radiation respectively. So along with the conduction and with the radiation, it is responsible for cooling in LEDs. So these LEDs must have, whenever it is been heat sink is given, heat sink is applied to reduce the heat which has been produced around the devices. To reduce that, we are going to use the heat sink. So the conduction along with the radiation is responsible for the cooling of LEDs. So the passive cooling is achieved by attaching the different heat sinks to the LED amount. As I told you all just now, the passive things is given with respect to this. The passive cooling is achieved as I told you, once the heat it has been heated, it is also have to be cooled down. So how it is cooled down? It by adding some heat sink directly to the LED place. So the heat is conducted from the junction. As I told you, the in PN, whenever in LEDs, the heat is generated with respect to the PN junction diodes. So the heat is conducted from the junction from the LEDs to the heat sink, and from there it is radiated to the surrounding environment. So in case of active cooling, whenever you are going to say, whenever you are going to cool it, in the active cooling, the fan is used along with the heat sink to further minimize the temperature and maximize the efficiency. So we see basically whenever we are using some what you can say, the cooling systems or anything where the larger systems is available, some adjustable fans are provided. Why? When the heat is produced maximum, there is possible to cool down that device. For cooling that device, an adjustable or portable fans are being utilized so that the maximum efficiency is being given out. So basically here also a benefit of active cooling is that physical size of the heat sink is required in 2/3 or the smaller and lighters. So the heat sink is a device where you can use it with the with respect to the LED, where LEDs are placed. You can place that heat sink so that the heat has been dissipated and it is cooled fast. So this reduces the heat sink cost. So the heat sink, or you may say the heat spreaders or the heat pipes or thermal interface material, that is TIM, are also used to maintain the or operating the temperature within the ranges. So what is the effect of heat on the LED parameter? Now, whenever the electrical, thermal or optical parameter influence the output characteristics of the LEDs. So whenever the heat is produced, whenever the heat is produced in large amount, some parameters of that LED is going to get disturbed, and the output characteristics of the LEDs is given in terms of electrical, thermal and output optical parameters. So we are going to see one figure where it is going to explain how the light output is related to the electrical and thermal parameters. So theoretically, the high drive current increases the light output. So however, it increases the dissipated power and ultimately hurts the light output and efficiency. So here you can see the diagram. We will see the diagram later. So then again, the higher junction temperature causes the reduction in the forward voltage of the LED. Once the light is going to get output efficiency, that is light output and efficiency is dissipated, So then the higher junction of the temperature starts is causing the temperature, and LED is going to work in a forward voltage while making the dissipated power even higher for the constant current source. Similarly, the dominant wavelength or the light output and the forward voltage of an LED are independent as listed above. So the heat effect of heat on LED parameters, as I have told you all, it is again similarly to the dominant as is listed. So here you are going to see the diagram where this is the light output given by the heat. It is also given by the current. So whenever the power is dissipated, it is given to the heat, and the heat is going to decrease the light source. Okay. So whenever the current is generated, it is given to the forward voltage bias. Whenever the LED work is going to work in a forward voltage, then the power is dissipated. Okay, so once the power is dissipated, then the heat is going to produce. So simultaneously to this forward, the current is directly applied to this dissipated power, and heat is also generated, and this is the light output which is going to decrease, and simultaneously the heat is, whenever it is going to give light output, the forward voltage is going to get decrease. So here you can see whatever is the green arrow, it is increased, indicates the increases, and the red arrow indicates the decreases part. So the light output decreases as the temperature is going to increase. As the temperature increases, the output of the light is going to get decreased. So the attached figure shows the relationship between, this is the figure where you are going to see the relative flux as well as the junction temperature. So you can see whenever it is going to reach to the 100%, what is the particular output it is going to give with respect to, if you are going to use the red LED or red orange LED, amber color, green color, blue color, white color. So what is the source with respect to color, what are the junction temperature it is going to show, we are going to see. Okay, so the attached figure shows the relationship between the junction temperature and luminous flux. It is apparent that the gallium arsenide or gallium phosphoride LEDs are the most sensitive to heat. So it can be observed that the luminous flux is always greater 80% of the white LEDs. So here you can see whenever you are going to whenever you are using the white bulb, you can see whenever flux is increasing, obviously the junction temperature is white, it is always the 80%, which is greater than the flux. So you can say that a white bulb, whenever you are going to use, you can also see that a white bulb is somewhat easy to, or it is digestible to see as visible as well. So white LEDs, and the temperature is almost maintained to 100 degrees Celsius. So in the case of amber, the output flux decreases. So here you can see with the help of this amber color, the output flux is decreases almost to 50%, so that it is not also visible to the junction temperature. So the optimal heat distribution and the efficiency of the PCB material. Now whenever it is also dependent on the PCB, whatever material you are going to use for the heat sink. The preceding discussion explained why the heat generated from the LED must be moved away from the junction area. So now we are going to follow the PCB material used as a pivotal role in the conduction of heat away from the LED and in the absence of proper heat sinks. So in the PCB material also having some techniques. So instead of using the heat sink, that should have the possibility to decrease the heat. So using the heat sink instead of depending solely on the LED amount or on the PCB used to make the devices stay compact. So heat sink must be used every time where we are going to utilize the high proportion of heat. So the net surface area is consequently decreased for the better heat radiation. So this section we are going to discuss the different material of the PCB and also the heat sinks and their application. So let us see what is the PCBs. So these PCBs are also going to come with the different materials that are targeted toward the specific applications. So whenever you are going to have some various types of applications, then the PCB materials are also utilized according to the application. So the few popularly used PCB material is like FR4, ceramic, MCPC, among the others, and likewise some different kinds of materials are used for that. So the FR4 PCB materials are avoided in deployments as they are poor conductor for heat. So basically we know this FR4 is utilized basically, but wherever the maximum heat is required, then this FR4 material is not used for the PCB. Why? Because they are poor conductors of the heat. Next, the ceramic PCBs are like aluminum nitride and the aluminum oxide and extremely thermally conductive in contrast with the FR4. So these ceramic PCBs are basically made up of the material like aluminum nitride and aluminum oxide, where the heat conduction possibility is maximum as compared to that of the FR4. So in application where heat is a real issue like LED lighting, it is a good idea to move away from the standard FR4 towards the PCBs and move towards the ceramic boards or some metal core PCBs. So this is the metal core boards can more easily carry excess heat away from the hotspot, which we ultimately damage from the board, reducing the life of the semiconductor junction. So whenever these metal core boards can be easily carry the excess heat and that is also providing the semiconductor damage as it is going to reduce the heat. So the other material of the PCB metal core materials including the aluminium and the beryllium can include the copper and steel alloy while making the PCBs. So the steel alloy also provides the stiffness that cannot be had within the copper and aluminium but not effective the heat transfer. There are also some steel material used, but that is also not effective the heat transfer purpose. So what we are going to see is that the copper is the most effective material to transfer the and dissipate the heat as a part of printed circuit board, but it is comparatively expensive. As you know, copper is very expensive, so utilizing it in a PCB, it can go more expensive. So next part we are going to see is the heat sink. Heat sink is a passive device that can be used to exchange the heat from the electronic or any mechanical device to the air, or any liquid coolant can be used as any liquid coolant, and thus helps in reducing or regulating the device temperature. So the idea of heat sink is to increase the total surface area so that the heat can be radiated effectively. So the heat sinks are generally used as a standalone mode or with a fan to achieve better cooling. As I told you all, the big systems, even if you use ACs, there are systems like fans are utilized in ACs as well. Why? Because continuously heat is being provided to the air conditioning part, and to cool the surrounding of that, the fan is also utilized, as well as heat sinks are also utilized. With similarly we can go with the LEDs as well. So there are three common types of heat sink. First one is the flat plates. You can go for the flat plates heat sink. Second is the die cast heat sinks, and third one is the extruded fine heat sinks. So these are the three kind of heat sinks where you can look for. So the most common material used for the heat sink construction is the aluminium, although copper may be used with the advantage of the flat heat sinks. So heat sink thermal radiation is a function of the surface finish, especially when the heat sink is at a higher temperature. So the painted surface will have the greater immensity as compared to that of the bright and unpainted one. So the effect of noticeable with the flat plate heat sinks, where about 1/3 of the heat sink is dissipated on the radiation itself. So the color of the paint, usually it is relatively unimportant. So painted color is going to look effective or heat sink is maximum. It is not related to this kind of things. So the next we are going to see is the thermal resistance of the flat plate heat sinks. Painted the gloss white while only 3% of the higher than the same heat sink matte black. So with a finished heat